All eyes on the Gulf Coast. Hurricane Laura slamming the region with the Category 4 behemoth forecast to put parts of the Texas-Louisiana border underwater. Even before the storm makes landfall, low-lying areas of Louisiana's coastline already partially flooded, with one highway completely covered by rising waters. Earlier today, long lines of cars seen waiting to enter an evacuation center in San Antonio, Texas, trying to escape the path of the hurricane. Officials saying nearly 1,500 people have already arrived at the center. For the latest, we first go to ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee live in Port Arthur, Texas. Ginger, you're starting to feel this powerful storm. Describe the conditions there.
We are just on the outside of the shield that is headed north and northwest right into this state line of Texas and Louisiana. So right now the rain has picked up. We certainly are feeling the winds. We've heard some really strong gusts, and we got an extreme wind warning. Byron, I have not seen an extreme wind warning since I was watching houses wash away in Hurricane Michael 2 years ago. So it's been a while for the country since we've seen a storm like this. We are watching this now, Category 4 kissing southwest Louisiana. You can see it there on the satellite. Cameron, Louisiana, taking the brunt of that northern eye wall. But this thing is not going to stop there. It's going to keep plowing north. The extreme wind warning stretches all the way into central. You can see it kind of there. The tornado warnings still popping at this hour. We'll go all the way from Baton Rouge to Alexandria with the watch. Now, I want you to pay close attention to the two most important parts of this storm. The wind that can cause the catastrophic damage that we'll be talking about for weeks or months or even years to come, and the storm surge. First, the wind. Port Arthur, 3 a.m., 105 mile per hour. Lake Charles will be at 126. Now I want you to watch how this thing moves. That dirty side, the northeast quadrant, it is going to blow through and stay with Lake Charles. That's a place where we will see not just significant wind damage, but you're going to see that push of water on an order of 10 to 20 feet of storm surge. Also a point to be made, look at 10 a.m. Tomorrow morning, Alexandria and Shreveport still up around hurricane force winds. So this thing is not going to die out too quickly. You will see power lines and power outages all the way through Arkansas, I'm sure. It's an inland storm too in that way. But look at the surge. When you talk about the most dangerous and deadly part of a hurricane, it's storm surge, bar none. And you can see the power of the water has already covered roads. I do anticipate I-10 will be covered, and then see that track, see as it moves up through Shreveport by tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow night, it's over Little Rock as a tropical storm. It's not just the winds, but the rain, of course. There are flash flood watches up there. Then that thing gets picked up in parts of the jet stream and a cold front, and it kind of shoots off over the mid-Atlantic by Saturday without much impact after that. But boy, the next 6 hours or so are going to be critical for this part of our country. Something Southwest Louisiana has never seen in modern history, a Cat 4 making landfall imminently. Byron?
Wow, just frightening. Ginger, stay safe. Thank you, my friend. We now turn to ABC's Matt Gutman live in Beaumont, Texas. Matt, why is Beaumont such a critical city?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, Byron, but Beaumont is home to 55% of the national strategic oil reserves. There are some of the biggest refineries in the country here. Most of the country's jet fuel is here. And so, as the sheriff told me here earlier, if this area gets impacted, the entire country is going to feel it.
Matt, you're outside the hospital there. What's their biggest concern?
They're concerned that this is going to be a massive storm, and they're going to have a tremendous number of casualties here. I mean, they've already prepared this entire parking lot behind me as a landing pad for helicopters. In fact, I was here during Hurricane Harvey, coming in a helicopter, landing just out there. Now, CHRISTUS St. Elizabeth, great hospital, but prone to flooding. In fact, just in Tropical Storm Imelda last year, the entire emergency department flooded. So what they're doing this year is preemptively closing off that area. What they've done with the lobby there, what you see as soon as I come in these doors, is they turned this into the triage area of the hospital. You can see the gurney, nurses taking people in. They expect it to get extremely busy here, Byron, starting in about 12 hours or so once the storm clears out.
Busy indeed. Stay safe, Matt. Matt Gutman in Texas. Also on the ground for us in Texas, ABC's Marcus Moore live in Galveston. Marcus, is that community ready?
Well, Byron, the officials here say that they are, and we are on the clean side. We're on the west side of the storm. It's about 70 miles from us here in Galveston, and so we have not seen a lot in the way of rain, but the wind has picked up. We've experienced wind gusts easily up to 20 miles per hour, and that is the main concern officials have tonight is that those wind gusts could potentially knock out power to the city. There was an evacuation order, a mandatory evacuation order for the city, and a curfew in place tonight. The other concern, as you heard Ginger mention, is the storm surge. They expect a 4 to 6 foot storm surge here in Galveston. Highway 87, which is one of the main routes from Galveston Island to the Bolivar Peninsula, it is underwater. And the governor in Louisiana has shut down Interstate 10 because of this massive storm. And Byron, this is just the beginning of what will no doubt be a long night and difficult days ahead for the Gulf Coast.
A long night indeed. Marcus Moore, please stay safe. For more on Hurricane Laura and the evacuations during the pandemic, here again is ABC's Matt Gutman.
Tonight, Hurricane Laura is already showing her strength, predicted to bring sustained winds of over 150 miles per hour. The National Hurricane Center warning the storm may result in, quote, unsurvivable storm surge. And tonight, over 500,000 people under mandatory evacuation orders. Louisiana's governor activating the entire National Guard, trucks that can be used for high water rescues staging now north of New Orleans.
And if you think you're safe because you made it through Rita in southwest Louisiana, understand this storm is going to be more powerful.
This just a few days before the 15th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, which made landfall as a Category 3 storm. And East Texas still recovering from Hurricane Harvey just 3 years ago. The Beaumont, Texas area, a strategically vital city, is preparing for the worst. Officials are especially concerned about Beaumont here and Port Arthur, home to 55% of the nation's strategic oil reserves, most of its jet fuel, and also some of the biggest refineries in the country. It's been a rough year for Beaumont. Jefferson County Sheriff Zena telling me they've been hit hard by the pandemic, multiple floods, and a refinery fire. Described to be the next 24 hours here.
High anxiety, not just on a personal level, because we all, not only are we first responders, we have families and we have homes, and and we're invested in this community.
As thousands evacuated, first responders and staff at CHRISTUS St. Elizabeth Hospital are bracing for impact tonight. It's the only trauma center between Galveston and Baton Rouge. Now, because this hospital and its emergency room tends to flood, they've actually turned this lobby area into a triage area. There's intake and registration, and those are nurses who take people in. Obviously very quiet right now, but after the hurricane hits, they expect this place to be very busy.
This is a calm before the storm.
Yeah, it really is.
These nurses gearing up to spend 4 nights on site, bringing overnight bags.
This is what I meant to do. It's my calling.
Kristen Hoffpauir and her husband, who is a nurse anesthetist, felt it so important to stay here at the hospital, they volunteered to work, leaving their 3-year-old daughter in the care of friends. It's probably very hard for her to not have her mom and dad around during what maybe is a scary thing.
Yeah, we had a talk. I said, Mommy and Daddy are going to work. We were in our scrubs when we had the talk, so she knew that, she knows when Mommy and Daddy are going to work, what that means. I said, we're going to be gone for a few days.
I mean, that just shows your dedication to the people who are going to be walking in this door.
Yeah, I mean, this is family, this is home. CHRISTUS, our mission here is to extend the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. And I mean, I always go back to that because that's what we're here to do.
Dr. Hoffpauir has worked in the ER here through 5 hurricanes over the last 20 years.
Within the next 24, 36 hours and this weekend, I'm on call all weekend, so it's going to get pretty crazy.
Over the summer, COVID cases surged here. Now the virus is largely under control, but a few patients still cling to life on ventilators. How much more does COVID complicate things than during a quote-unquote normal?
It complicates things quite a bit. Even prior to COVID, our capacity was about 85, 90%. With this coming on, we're going to be full capacity in no time.
Tonight, the storm continues moving northward at a crawl, continuing up through Alexandria, Louisiana, and then on to Shreveport tomorrow. That as hundreds of thousands are hunkering down tonight, praying it passes quickly. For Nightline, I'm Matt Gutman in Beaumont, Texas.
Our thanks to Matt. Joining me now is meteorologist Greg Dutra from our ABC News station WLS in Chicago. Greg, what concerns you most as we head into the overnight hours?
Byron, I have to completely agree with what Ginger said. The storm surge, the winds are very bad. Don't get me wrong about that with the extreme wind warning. You could theoretically shelter from just wind, but this water, making it 30 miles inland all the way to the I-10 corridor, Lake Charles, which is up near I-10, could potentially have 3 feet of water inundation from the storm, as a storm surge along the coast produces 10 to 20 feet of water. The extremely low pressure in the center of the system has pulled the sea surface water up, and then those winds that are now up to about 150 miles per hour, of course, pulling that inland. And the dirty side of the storm could potentially bring large inundation all the way out to Lake Pontchartrain, just north of New Orleans.
Great. What should coastal residents expect overnight? About what time will it get worse? Will things be okay by the time the sun comes up?
Within the next couple of hours is when we're going to see landfall, and there's no beating around the bush on this. There is going to be widespread catastrophic destruction. There's just no other way around it, especially with wind speeds these high. Here, this red circle is the circle of hurricane force winds. Notice how large that is, first of all, and then how far north it makes it during the next few hours here. During the next 6 hours, it is going to be critical. As that makes it inland, people will lose power, people will lose homes, and hopefully people have heeded the warnings so that they do not lose their life as this makes its way inland. Byron?
All right, fingers crossed, prayers lifted. Greg, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.